Hello everyone, this is Simple Math for You. Our lesson today is talking about scatter plots and lines of fit. In this lesson, we are going to categorize the correlation of a set of data in a scatter plot and make and evaluate predictions by fitting linear functions to sets of data. What is a scatter plot? A scatter plot is a graph of bivariate data in two groups of data that consists of ordered pairs on a coordinate plane. Using a scatter plot can help you to see the trend. Sometimes the trend shows increasing, sometimes decreasing, sometimes we cannot define, we cannot decide whether they are increasing or decreasing. If we check the first part here, the first graph, we notice that whenever x increases, y increases, and it has some kind of positive slope, sometimes of increasing or some kind of increasing trend. In this case, we call this correlation a positive correlation. As x increases, y increases. And also, as x decreases, y decreases. They are going together. Increase, increase, decrease, decrease. But here we can see that the trend shows decreasing pattern. They are going down from left to right, the points. So as x increases, y decreases. Also, you can take the opposite as x decreases, y increases, opposite to each other. Here, we cannot decide whether it's going up or going down. We don't know. They are scattered everywhere. So that's why we cannot decide here. We will say there is no correlation between them. No correlation. Sometimes there will be points or clusters of points that are far somewhere. It does not affect the trend in general. And these points are called outliers. Let's see here. The scatter plot displays the number of landline telephones in the United States in 100 millions since 2000. Determine whether the scatter plot shows a positive, negative, or no correlation. Describe the correlation's meaning in the situation. So as you see here, the points shows decreasing trend, and that means the correlation is negative. The scatter plot shows negative correlation. As time increases, the number of lined lines means decreases. As you see, opposite to each other, increase with decrease or decrease with increase. For negative relations, it's always like that. And we have here some questions. Determine whether each scatter plot shows positive, negative, or no correlation. If there is positive or negative correlation, describe the meaning in the context of the situation. Let's see this one. As you see, it's some kind of increasing. So we can say, since it is increasing with increasing, we can say it has positive correlation. Positive correlation. And when you describe, use the x values labels. So we can say as time increases, number of calories increases as well. Okay, here, as you see, the points are scattered everywhere without a specific trend. So you will say there is no correlation. If you move here, we can say that there is a relation between the weight in pounds and repetition, number of repetitions. When you hold the weight, number of repetitions will be less as the weight is going more. So this will show negative correlation. And if you want to describe, because part 2 is description, so as weight in pounds increases, كل ما تروح يمين يعني increases, then number of this part, the y-axis, repetitions, copy it as it is. repetitions decreases. You have here car dealership revenue إيرادات يعني. As you see, it is going up. However, it's not fast going up, but it shows positive correlation. Positive correlation. As time increases, the revenue increases. So this shows positive correlation. Okay, in part 2, we are going to learn how to fit a line. A line of fit is used to describe the trend of the data in a scatter plot. How can we fit a line? These are the steps that you are going to use. First, make a scatter plot. Sometimes they will give you the data, so you need to plot the data on the coordinate plane. Then you will decide whether it's increasing or decreasing, so positive or negative correlation. If it's no correlation, you cannot draw a line of fit. Then you will draw a line, closely follows the trend in the data. Then you will write the equation using 2 points on the line of fit to find the slope of the line and create the equation of the line using the slope and the point like we have done before. And then if you are asked to make predictions to find a certain value at a certain input, you can use the equation that you have used or you have found. Let's see an example here. The data shows the amount of milk that baby goat needs by its weight. Usually, this will be your X and this will be your Y. So when you plot, make sure that you are choosing a proper scale as they have done here. So when are going to plot, this is the weight, this is the X values, weight, and this is the milk in ounces, the amount of milk needed. And if you want to plot 5 and 12, you go to 5 and up here because this is 10, this will be 12. After you plot, everyone now knows how to plot. You will have such a scatter plot graph. Now you need to fit a line. When you want to fit a line, you will choose to pass by most of the points if possible. So if you use this line, let's say, I think it passes by most of the points. If you cannot, then the number of points above almost should equal to the number of points below. So this is how we plot or find the line. Now, how can we write the equation of a line? We will choose 2 points that the line passes by. So I will choose this point, which is 50 and 80, and another point, which is 5 and 12, we can say, or we can say 10 and 20. 10 and 20 is better. And he has chosen those. How can we write the equation of a line? We will refer back to the old lesson that we have studied before. First step, you should know the equation of a line in slope-intercept form is this form. So you need firstly to find the slope. This is x1, y1, x2, y2. So slope, as you remember, is showing this trend. So 80 minus 20 over 50 minus 10, which is 60 over 40, which is 3 over 2 in the simplest form, or 1.5, we can say. It's okay. Then what? We need to find the B. How can we find the B? You will use one of the points to replace in this equation. So let's use point 10 and 20. So you will use this as X, this as Y. Y equals mx plus B. So this is 20. Slope that we have found. X is 10 plus B. So 20 is 15 plus B. And this will go here. 20 minus 15 is our B. So B is 5. Then the equation will be y equals the slope that you have found, 1.5, x plus the new b. This is the equation representing the situation. Now, why we are using line of fit or best line? So that we can predict نتنبأ بالvalues اللي مطلوبة. So we are going to use the equation of part A to predict the amount of milk needed for a 17 and 55 pounds goat. The pounds of goats is X. So the first time here, X is 70, here X is 55. What shall we do? We are going to replace in this equation or using this equation. So for X equals 17, Y equals 1.5, this X is replaced by the 17 plus 5. Use the calculator. 1.5 times 17 plus 5 is 30.5. So here we will write 30.5 ounces. Now, 55, I will repeat the procedure when changing the X into 55. And then use the calculator, and it will give us 87.5, and I will put it here. So the use of line fit is to use the equation to predict نتنبأ بأي value ثانية, to predict any other value needed. Because here in the table, it stopped at 50, giving data until 50 pounds. So if you need more data, you can just find the best line and replace. Let's take another example here using tools. Several groups volunteered to clean litter, the garbage, along a mile of the highway near their town. The table shows how many people were in each group and how long time يعني, it took each group to finish the job. Of course, you will notice and you know that if number of workers is more, then the time needed to clean the area will be less. So if X is increasing, Y decreases. So it should be negative correlation. Without plotting, you should know that. So first, if you graph here, you will choose a good scale. And here, I'm graphing already in front of you here. The graph is ready. Choose a scale 0, 20, 40, or if you want 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, or 5, 10, blah, blah, blah. And the other x-axis, the workers, also you can use another scale. If you want to choose a good scale, find out the minimum value and the maximum value, and your scale should include all of them. For the y, same thing. The minimum value here for y is 30. The maximum value here is 90. So this should include all the axes, يعني the y-axis should include all the data needed. And when you plot the point, you will find, as we have expected, a negative correlation. It's decreasing, as you see here. Now you will ask to the best line fit. Now, if you draw it this way, let's say, or this way, it will not be a good line of fit. Why? Because it passes through 3 points and ignored all other points here above. So it will not be a good fit. And that's why I have chosen this line, because it passes by many points. And if you count 1, 2, 3, 4 points above them, 1, 2, 3, 4 points below them. And it's like midway between these points if that's passing through these points. And the next step will be writing the equation. If you want to write that equation, you have to good points or points that are the lines passing by. So I will choose 9 and 80. It's passing by, and 15 and 50. And 15 and 50 is this point. 9 and 80 is this point. Since the line is passing by these 2 points, then it's they are the expected points that we are going to use to find the slope and the equation of a line. So let's find the slope. The first point we said it is 980 here. we will choose here 980, 9 and 80. And the second point, we said 15 and 50. Okay. So as usual, slope is 50 minus 80 over 15 minus 9, negative 30 over 6, which is negative 5. You should expect a negative slope since it has negative correlation. Then, as usual, you will use y equals mx plus b. I will choose the first point, 80 equals negative 5, x is 9 plus b. You solve for b, 80 plus 45 is b, so b is 125. So our equation will be y equals the slope that we found, x, mx, plus the new b, which is this one, 125. And this is my equation. Then what? We will use this equation in part D. Another group wants to get done in 45 minutes. So we have the time here. The time here is what, X or Y? It's Y. So Y here, Y is 45. So I will use the equation here, replace 45 instead of Y. Find X because we said X is number of or represent number of workers. Then I would take the 25 here, 45 minus 125 equals negative 5x. Negative 80 equals negative 5x. You divide both sides by negative 5, then x is 16. That means number of workers needed to finish the work in 45 minutes equals 16. Now, let's find y-intercept of the line of fit. This is the first part. So if you have this equation that you have found before, what was y-intercept? You know that it is 125 directly because it's written in the form of slope-intercept form. So this is b, which is y-intercept. If you forget that, then you can assume x is 0. Y-intercept is found by finding, by assuming x equals to 0. So when you assume x 0, it becomes y equals, this is 0 plus 125, so y 25, and this is y-intercept. And then the next part of the lesson, the question is talking about, does it make sense? Does it make sense in the context of the situation? Yeah, and does it make sense that y-intercept is equal 125? So referring to the context of the problem, we said that y-intercept is when x is 0. Means y-intercept means when number of workers, which is x, equals to 0, the time spent equals 125 minutes. Now, does it make sense? Of course not. If there are no workers to do the job, then there will be no time spent. So this equation is valid. So you would answer this question, no. Because if no workers are there, there will be no job, no work is done. So this equation will be valid with at least one worker. You cannot assume no workers that using time. And here we can check our understanding. Which one does not belong? Analyze the following situations and determine which one does not belong. Justify your conclusion. In every situation here, we are going to justify whether it's positive, negative, or no correlation. And we will see which one does not belong. Hours worked and amount of money earned. You know that when you work more, you will earn money. So that means it has positive correlation, increasing with increasing. Height of an athlete and the favorite color, no relation between them. So no correlation. Seedlings that grow an average of 2 centimeters each week. Of course, it is positive, it's growing. Number of photos stored on a camera and capacity of the camera. Of course, when you take more photos, the capacity or the memory of your phone or your camera will be less. More and less means negative correlation. So the one which is odd or does not belong will be this one, because this is the only one with no correlation. Others, we can even fit a line if it's positive or negative, but for no correlation, no. Last question here, or last part. Determine which line of fit shows is a better fit for the data in the scatter plot. Justify your argument. Now, we have line F and line G. They tried to fit a line by passing by most of the points they can. But unfortunately, none of them is correct. Why? Let's think about it. Do you think that there is a correlation showing a trend here, increasing or decreasing? No correlation. You cannot decide whether this is in an increasing trend or decreasing trend. We don't know actually, because the points are scattered منتشرة everywhere. So neither of them is correct because there is no correlation. I hope this lesson was easy, and see you in the next lesson. Thank you very much. Goodbye.